Unauthorized opinions expressed on the internet would be censored.
We are live. We are live. This is real. Welcome back to Unauthorized Opinions, UOPod.com. Like, share, subscribe.
It's pure propaganda and it's super cringe, by the way.
I literally went to the polls with nothing in mind. I saw a can of orange soda in the parking lot. And I was like, yeah, there we go. An unopened can of orange soda just chilling in the parking lot. I was like, yeah, I got to vote for Trump, dude.
Your podcast sucks. It's mental, mate. It's absolutely mental.
I'll be honest, I thought it was kind of offensive when you talk so much about the Loch Ness Monster.
Political climate.
And Andrew, treat yourself, okay? Especially if you start, I don't know, getting in good with homeless people.
Unauthorized Opinions, streaming everywhere at UOPod.com. Cockle doodly doodly doo, man. Welcome back, everybody. It is Sunday, January 6th, 2021. Every single day is January 6th. My hair is out of control. Gabe Victal is with me. How are you, young Gabriel?
How are you? You know, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I bought a new computer. Have like a different camera setup as last time. So hello viewers. I don't know if this angle is good because I'm not necessarily looking at it. So I'm gonna try to figure out during here how to bit over so I kind of more directly towards the camera. But how are you, Andrew? How have you been?
I am great, my dude. International best friends, the New Hampshire National Enquirer. You're the Texas Tornado. You're the Dallas Destroyer. You're the Brazilian
Destroyer? I don't know if I destroyed
the Brazilian Barracuda, the Curitiba Captain. I don't know. Where's your family from in Brazil? Manaus?
Espírito Santo.
I don't know where that is. Anyways, you look like you're coming to us from an abyss.
I am.
The void.
So let me give some explanation. Gabe is in moving mode right now. I'm going to be moving out of Texas sometime in May, which I know is a far time from now, but the studio is now being kind of taken a bit here at Gabe's Casa. The West Hut, as we like to call it over here. And I have this divider that I used to use. So actually this divider, everything that's behind it is like a mess. So I moved my kitchen divider behind me for the show. You know, your audience would not see my mess and think that you have messy friends.
That's okay. It seems better that you're speaking to us from purgatory. Of course, unauthorizedopinions.com. We're on Rumble, Twitter. What else are we on? YouTube. Can't forget about that one. Of course, if you're listening, the growing Spotify audience, and Google and Apple Podcasts. Every single place, even iHeartRadio, where the age group, I assume, is 50 to 70 years old.
Dude, I remember our iHeartRadio used to be really big back in the day. Like, I used to go to parks, Emily, and they would always be like tense. And it's like, oh, iHeartRadio, like answer like 3 questions, you get this wristband or something. It was it used to be pretty big.
Answer 3 questions and give us your blood sample. Let's get into it. There is a group of protesters. You know, they're always European climate protesters are completely out of control. They're completely cringe. They are often incredibly misinformed. That too, as we get into the immediate demonetization of the podcast.
I'm so sorry. No, it's okay. I am gay, so it is okay.
That's fair.
You know, for this episode, I will be saved by the, ad monsters at YouTube.
He's very, it's not like I'm making any money off of it. Very fluid is what you are. So in Europe, they're always throwing stuff at artwork. They're gluing their faces to the road. And just recently, I think this happened today or yesterday, climate activists in, I'm guessing France, the Louvre, La Louvre. Sorry, that's my French just coming out. They threw soup at it. Employees responded by holding up curtains to block the visitors from seeing. That's a very French thing to do. These climate asterisks terrorists need to be arrested and given long prison sentences to see to stop. I mean, that's a little bit hyperbolic. I don't know how long somebody who's vandalizing something expensive deserves in prison, but let's see.
Yeah.
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a de plus important?
Là, je crois une alimentation saine et durable.
Notre système agricole.
So they're saying, if my broken French is correct, something like this is what you think is important. Well, and I can only assume after that it's the plants burning and everything. But before we watch the rest of it, I want to point out that this is like a 50-something-year-old woman. Have you noticed that a lot of these climate activists are like old hippie types?
Yeah, this lady is probably, I don't know if this is true or not, but I'd assume that this lady is this girl's mother. And if not, then that would be even more concerning to me, quite frankly, because first off, it is concerning that like you'd encourage your child. If this wasn't her mother, I feel like it would be more concerning seeing that this woman probably is aiding in the public destruction of property with a child that isn't hers. Like either way, it's terrible, you know? Either way, it looks really, really bad.
On va vous demander d'évacuer.
This is like just gonna mute it while we play. This is like Antifa, how they block people out from things that they don't want them to be seen. Now they're Antifing the activists with just, placards here, room dividers.
Plot twist. I am actually in France right now. This divider behind me is that right? Caught me. I am in France.
You're just podcasting live from the Mona Lisa. But yeah, what is this doing? You're blocking their message from getting out? Like, it's like, how about taking them away from your bajillion-dollar artwork? No, we're gonna block you out, you guys. This is what happens when liberal protesters do something in an extremely liberal place like Paris. And this is their only idea. Let's check. No, that's the end of the video. I hope it's not this woman's daughter, but that would make sense. I didn't think about that. Yeah. This is what you care about. You guys care about art and history and culture. The climate, you guys. Like, how long is this going to... This is one of the longest lasting, I think, psyops, if you can call it that. Don't you think? Like, the racism hasn't worked out as well as they thought. So many different... storylines, headlines haven't lasted as long as climate change has. I don't think you can say they've been saying it from like since the 70s, and it's true. They used to say an ice age was coming, and then in the 90s it was greenhouse gases and ozone layer. But since around like the Al Gore time and 2012, so the late 2000s till now, this has been ongoing. Why do you think, Gabe, that this is such a thing that enthralls people for such a long period of time?
I'd probably say that it's the bit of truth, right? Because climate is always changing. Like when they changed it from global warming to global cooling to then climate change, they started getting more people on board because, global warming, but like it's getting colder, or global cooling, but actually winter's getting pushed forward. And we get it later every year now. It's because climate is just always changing, and it always has been for the history of the world. So that's how they get people hooked. Not necessarily a problem. Now, part of me can sympathize with climate change activists, not in the sense that I think they're doing anything productive, because I think, quite frankly, it's stupid. But I do understand from a Christian perspective, we want to preserve the earth that God gave us, right? We don't want to be destroying everything. But the thing is these people aren't like actually attacking like the root of these problems, and most of the time they're just like yelling into nothingness and harassing people for no reason, which is retarded. And I just fully disagree with the take. I disagree with a lot of this due to aid, climate change, whatever it is. I feel like if we're gonna do anything, just stop littering. You know, like if that's the one thing we do to like help the earth, stop littering. Maybe stop being vegan. Yeah, I think those are like the solutions there.
I do also have a problem with the way that these protests are conducted. Not because they're stupid, and they are. The gluing the face to the road is one of my favorite things. And the sitting in front of traffic is one of my most annoying things. But the fact that it's just ineffective. What change? They think that by disrupting things, especially in Europe, they think this, like throwing the orange glitter and paint at Wimbledon or at the World Billiard Championships or the cricket game, they think disrupting people's lives is how to get their attention, and that's literally what they say. But why not do something that actually disrupts the government, as those are the people that are making these changes and decisions? Now, I'm not saying to do it. I'm not saying to commit crimes, because I would never say that. But when BLM or somebody, they are destroying things, I mean, that is going to get the attention of the government. And it did get the attention of Joe Biden and who's it and what's it and such and such. Yeah. But even for freedom-oriented protesters, whom I am more likely to agree with, they nearly never actually go and protest the parliament in Canada or the state house in the United States. That is usually left to the leftist. Now, obviously, the environmental protesters pretty much never do that. They have this different edginess to them where they purposely want to get certain amounts of publicity so they can get donations for it. But, you know, the crazy leftists, I think it was in the Tennessee State House, they staged their protest there. And, of course, there's the obvious truth. Whereas if you're a Republican or a conservative in the United States, you do that, you get arrested, but the leftists are allowed to do it. There's that obvious truth. But a lot of the protests that are more right-wing do not disrupt any sort of governmental proceeding. And I'm not saying they necessarily have to go and stop a vote or anything, but just maybe being outside a courthouse or being outside a parliament building or a state House of Representatives, something like that, where you're actually saying, hey, we're directing the blame at these government officials. Whereas most of the time it's, let's gather in a park and have a session there, or let's walk down the street in usually a pre-planned and legal parade. And those aren't effective at all. Obviously, the one true thing that has been effective was the trucker convoy, and they shut down an entire city for a while. And, of course, they had to deal with the propaganda about them and the noise they were making. Oh, the horns. My God, the horns. But that was something that was actually effective because they targeted it the right way. Now, the reason why they did it, you might disagree with, but no matter which side of the aisle it's on, I think you need to actually do something where you're letting the government know that you're displeased with them, other than just causing trouble in the streets, sitting down in front of cars until a big buff German lady comes and takes you out of the streets, or a British chav comes up and says, "Oi, mate, go get to work. I go get to me English breakfast." I don't know how much experience you have with what English breakfasts are, Gabriel. They're quite disgusting.
I know that it's beans and just
mushrooms, black pudding, tomatoes.
Black pudding? What's black pudding? You know, a lot of that stuff doesn't sound like too bad.
No, it's disgusting.
For bread. You don't like beans?
I'm going to have to bring it up for you then. I do like beans, but for breakfast, that's like the only acceptable thing besides the mushrooms. That's English breakfast. It's got like black pudding, black pudding is like cow's blood.
You're lying.
I'm not. And then
hold on. I'm gonna open a new thing. But continue.
The tomatoes are just like basically tomatoes that came out of a can. We could bring Louis Brackpool on for this if we needed to. I'm going to message him right now. I'm going to invite him to this. I'm going to message him right now.
I don't know why. I always thought this was just so disgusting, just like cut and cooked. This actually looks awful.
Yeah, it is disgusting. I told you. And then they got the ugly sausages. I mean, they've got toast often and sometimes bacon, but my girlfriend and I watched the these these eaters sometimes. This one guy named Beard Meats Food, this English guy who eats competitively, because it's content, and there's so little good content out these days that you take what you can get. But here it is, and they eat these disgusting things. Like, there's the black pudding, there's beans, there's some burnt potatoes, I think, and this is just a tomato cut into like thirds.
You know what's so funny is like the right side of that plate actually doesn't look too bad. It looks kind of like an American breakfast, at least eggs, bacon. That looks like hash browns or something. But then that left side of the plate just looks like.
I saw a good meme the other day. That was like the English are all still eating like the Germans are flying overhead. And I thought that was pretty accurate.
Yeah, dude. From this plate, at least that left side looks just like it. We're talking about competitive eaters. I hate to get off topic here, but they will never beat us in competitive eaters. We have Matt Stoney. All right. I don't know if you watch Matt Stoney. Right wing. He's probably a left wing guy because he's like small, but he's a competitive eater, dude. And nobody is better than Matt Stoney. All right. He is the GOAT. And we have him. It probably claims his Asian side, gay.
How dare you not mention Joey Chestnut?
Joey Chestnut also, yes. But I'm pretty sure Matt Stoney beat his record, did he not?
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not as up to date on my eating records as I should be, I suppose. Hopefully we can get Lewis on here to explain.
Hungry, but it'll also make you full at the same time. I don't know how to explain it.
I ate so much the other day. What did I have? Yesterday we have this place here called the Pita Deli. Shout out Pita Deli. Don't harass them because we're so extremist over here. But the Pita Deli gives you a pita the size of a Canadian football. And I had a chicken Caesar pita yesterday I always get cucumbers, tomato, pickles in it. And I ate half of it. We came home. I ate the other half. And then I forget what I had, like a thing of fruit gushers or something. No, wait. And I also had a milk to go. I don't know if you have those there. But I was so sick I had to lay down for like 30 minutes to recover. Dang. And thinking about doing that today with Taco Bell as well.
Normally I don't have to recover from food. Like it's on occasion. So I won't lie. Like if I'm out for my birthday and we go to like Fogo de Chão, or we go to like Brazilian steakhouses, I will eat like so much meat that I will want to puke after. Like that is like one of those sections where I eat, one of those restaurants where I eat like a ton. Or like if I go to eat all you can eat sushi, I don't think sushi is worth money unless it's all you can eat or if you're making it at home. Those two. So it's like the all you can eat places. Like I will fill my face if I'm going there because I'm spending so much money, So I like have to endure the pain for it to be worth my money.
It was a problem yesterday. Let's talk about Snoop Dogg, and then somebody in the chat says to talk about Ben Shapiro's rap, which I think we should because it's so bad.
Oh, you thought it was bad?
Yeah. I listened to a minute of it and I was like, I can't take this. But Snoop Dogg, who we all know as, Snoop Dogg. But my point is, for the last few years, he has vehemently been anti-Trump. And we know this because, just for an example, he did a music video where he pretended to execute him.
Oh, this.
Very cool. So he obviously didn't like Trump. That was very popular to dislike Trump. They really sent out all the wolves. But now, after however many years, I guess 7, 8 now, he said that he is a big fan of him. So he also met Donald Trump. They're talking about, this is from The Times, which is, I believe, the UK The Times, not the LA Times or something. He also met Donald Trump on a televised Comedy Central roast in 2011, talking about Snoop Dogg. A chance for the invited celebrities to take apart the host of The Apprentice, as Trump was then. Snoop made a prescient gag about the possibility of Trump running for president and displacing the Obamas. Why not? It wouldn't be the first time he pushed a black family out of their home. Ha ha ha, LOL.com. Snoop Dogg laughs. Donald Trump, he bellows, he ain't done nothing wrong to me. He has done only great things for me. He pardoned Michael Harris. Harris, the founder of Snoop's first label, Death Row Records, was in prison for drug offenses. So I have nothing but love and respect for Donald Trump. I mentioned a post from 2012 in which Snoop weighed up the reasons. Okay. Talking about, like, trying to get in good terms with the audience. Snoop weighed up the reasons to vote for Barack Obama above Mitt Romney. Should we expect similar for Biden versus Trump this year? I may have to, Snoop says, nodding, because there are mixed views on that. So I want to see what people say. And then for some reason they embed gin and juice in the article. And that's about all they say for Trump.
It's like, do you think people that don't know who Snoop Dogg is?
Yeah,
like, oh,
just in case. His 1994 hit regarding gin and some sort of juice. So he obviously went from hating him. I mean, I never took Snoop Dogg's political views seriously. Mm-hmm. I remember a thing back in the day where he hated Bill O'Reilly as well. Bill O'Reilly went at him very hard for having weed convictions is the word I'm looking for. And he said he was a bad influence on kids. And then when the Trump presidency happened, he obviously went from the rapper's greatest lyrical reference about how rich Donald Trump is to then hating him because it was perceived for some reason that all of a sudden he was now racist. Now he's back on the side of Trump because he pardoned a guy who was in jail for drug offenses, which is probably part of the First Step Act. Now, do you think that's a good thing for Trump to be getting fans based on letting people with drug offenses out of jail, or in the case of A$AP Rocky, whose crew allegedly beat up some kids? Now, I have opinions on that as well. I don't think they were that guilty, but he got a lot of clout for bringing A$AP Rocky home, and then clout for pardoning Lil Wayne, Kodak Black as well. So do you think these are good reasons why he should be getting praise from these guys?
So with like the drug stuff, I don't think it's that great of an idea to let people that are, careless of drugs out on the streets to like set them free from prison. I disagree personally with that. But I think that like I can understand why these people like Trump for that, because they quite honestly see like, drugs as part of their culture. And maybe not drugs like in general, right? And they see like weed as nothing. They see it as a nothing drug, which most Americans do nowadays, which, if I don't know if there's anyone in your audience right now, but weed is a something drug. Weed is not good for you. And if you're smoking it, you should probably stop. It has a lot of negative effects on your brain. But I'm sure Trump probably doesn't know that either. And I'm sure Trump also grew up with a lot of people smoking weed around them. He is, gonna appeal to these people more, right? Especially having been in Hollywood for a long time. Everyone smokes weed. So I don't think it's necessarily a good thing that he did those things, like just freed people that had like drug crimes under their belt. But I do think that it is good that they're just like recognizing that as like the one thing that was stopping them from liking Trump. And I'd say it's a net positive at least, because if you look out, like how many more young people do you think will consider, or at least young, I don't think necessarily matters as much as like the young white vote or like the young Hispanic vote, but because they're just like such a small section of the population, not because they matter less or something. Please don't ban us, YouTube. But I do think that like a lot more young men, I'll say in general, will be voting for Donald Trump, your favorite celebrity, supporting him, like Kodak Black, your Lil Yachty's, your A$AP Rocks, your Snoop Dogg's, your Ice Cubes, your Lil Wayne's, your Big Sean's, your Waka Flocka Flames, all these people. So, yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on that.
I haven't seen that Lil Yachty endorse Trump. Is that
so? Lil Yachty has never been like, oh, I'm voting for Trump. But he was the one that initiated Trump pardoning Kodak Black. So Yachty was like, yo, Trump, if you're gonna do anything good before you free my boy Kodak. And then like literally when Trump was doing his last minute pardons, he added Kodak Black, and Kodak Black is basically like, I owe Donald Trump my life. Like, I'll do anything for him. So I'd assume that like Lil Yachty's ideas are roughly the same because Trump wouldn't have done that. Or at least I don't think he would have. I think that he can appreciate Trump, or at least he probably won't, because I'm sure Kodak would, kind of check him on that a bit. So
I also think that a lot of these guys, when they saw Trump get into office, they got huge tax incentives, as in their taxes were cut massively. I remember Kanye West stating that when Trump took office, he got $97 million in tax revenue. So people like Lil Wayne and Kodak Black, these are wealthy guys. Lil Wayne probably much richer. And then, of course, Snoop Dogg probably pretty wealthy. These are guys who are going to see a significant difference in their taxes, especially business taxes under Trump. And then probably when Biden came back into office, it goes way up again. I can't remember what he put it back to. But these are reasons why I think they should promote Donald Trump. Not necessarily because, if this affects their lives, I'm not going to say don't talk about what affected your life. But they could say, these specific guys could come out and say, hey, when Trump is in office, he's an entrepreneur, so he looks out for the businessman, the small business owner. And whatever level you're at, whether you're hustling online with clothing or with shoes or making videos, if business taxes are lower and you run your own business, you're going to make more money. And that's something I think they could market to people who want to make money. The young black guys hustling is a known thing. Like, that's one of the things you see. Like, when a black guy's at his job, he's usually pretty serious about it and doesn't want to mess that up. As opposed to some of the people that I live around who will go unnamed. Old Indian women. Terrible service. Terrible service.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, these are one of the things that the rapper community could be pushing about Trump. Now, I understand, like I said, that if it affects their lives personally, that they will talk about it. And it reminds me of Mike Tyson. Now, I forget who he was on with. Maybe it was like Michael Rappaport or something, who's a raging lunatic, or somebody else. But he was on a radio show talking about how he loves Trump, and because Trump was one of the only people who stood by him when he was accused and went to jail, so I guess convicted of sexual crimes, whatever they may have been. He went to jail for a while. And Trump, of course, in the casino game and the hotel game, hosted Mike Tyson for fights, but Mike Tyson knew that he stood by him, so he wasn't fooled by the misinformation or the disinformation that came out about Trump. So I think that some of these guys start to realize this once something in their life is personally affected by this, in this case, Kodak Black. Now, in terms of A$AP Rocky, I covered this years ago. I think it was 2019. Him and his friends were in Sweden, and I'd have to go back and check my own video about it. But I remember kind of agreeing with A$AP Rocky's crew and that they were not guilty of what they were allegedly hearsay convicted of or charged with or whatever. And then Trump brought them back.
I thought it was like also drug crimes, was it not? Like, so you mentioned like them beating up some kid, but I thought it was some drug crime, but I might be wrong.
Who knows? I could be wrong too.
I do remember where I was though. Like, I was in New Hampshire at my dad's work when I saw that post on my phone. I still remember it till this day because it's so brought up. It's brought up all the time. But yeah,
let's go ahead and check out Ben Shapiro and Tom McDonald. And then we'll talk about it. What was that last part that I saw that was just like, all my people, download this, da 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 da. And I get it. It's going to make them a lot of money, and I think that's what the goal probably was. I mean, let's put Ben Shapiro in a song, and it's going to go to #1. And it's because not that many people are literally buying the songs anymore. So if you can get momentum behind it, you're probably going to get close to the top. Bryson Gray's made #1 several times on the rap and general charts because he's got a following that's willing to pay for his music, which is good. But Tom McDonald in general, I don't think his choruses are very good. I think most of his songs are very similar. I can't support him always being like nearly naked in videos. Well, it's kind of funny, but I definitely can't support his Blair Whiteism either, his promotion, stuff like that. So he's not that much of a political person. He's trying to be, controversial all the time, but it's just not he's a good rapper. It's just not good enough for me to care and be like, oh my God, Ben Shapiro. Maybe if it was 2016 or 2017, I'd be like, this is cool. But at this point, I leave that to the young conservatives who are just getting into it with Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, I personally, so when I said before that I liked it, it's because I thought it was funny. Like, I thought Ben Shapiro's part, it's good culture. You know, it's funny. Like, everyone's going to be sharing it. It's like the nerdy Jewish guy, like, trying to rap. It's hilarious, you know? But I would agree with you when it comes to Tom McDonald's music, not to diss him or anything, because I think that he has like songs out there that have changed people's minds, weirdly enough. But I just personally don't like listening to his music. I don't, like you said, his choruses. I think that's like the big thing because it's so heavily auto-tuned and it's like trying to sing a chorus most of the time, but it's not good. Like I would rather a song have no chorus and someone rap all the way through, kind of like an Eminem type song or song where someone's like just rapping all the way through, no chorus. And it's just bars after bar. Rapping ability, like he could do that, but he tries to throw in choruses like a cookie cutter template he has where he just rips off the lyrics and slaps on new lyrics. That's what I don't like. But on the song, thought it was keck, you know, thought it was funny.
Shout out NF, good Christian boy. I never thought that Christian rap would get anywhere close to good. I just never thought it. And I can't even remember any Christian rappers from back in the day. There were definitely Christian rock groups that were good, and they tried to hide that they were Christian for a while, and then when they came out as Christian, they kind of make fun of them. That's what the guy from Creed said, is that once they came out as Christian and it became evident that they were, you start listening to their lyrics, you're like, yeah, obviously. They said they started getting, you know, made fun of sort of by the industry because obviously evil Hollywood doesn't want to push that. I don't know if do you remember the band POD? They're Christian guys.
I don't.
And
I remember growing up listening to Toby Mac a lot. I don't know who
that
Toby
is.
Mac is. He's like a Christian, I'd say. He has like rap songs, but maybe just a Christian pop artist. I think now, like you're right, I think Christian rap is getting a lot better than it used to be, but where it should be. There's an artist named Caleb Gordon who has pretty good and I know this might not be good, but I still listen to just like regular rap. I've been trying to listen to other music though. Like I like to listen to country. I like to listen to Blink 182. And I know a lot of that is still just like brain rot. I know it's all like still poison. But you know, music is I have this weird opinion. It's different. But look, today in the car, I was listening to just some Catholic hymns. All right, I didn't listen to any brain rotting rap or brain rotting rock. You know, I was just trying to be at peace or something, trying to get myself used to listening to peaceful music.
I think it does depend on how impressionable you are because 50 Cent and G-Unit always said that they were doing entertainment. Now, they were involved with that, but obviously not once they were making records were they much involved in crime, if at all. And, you know, you go back to people like Tupac and NWA, they were not really involved with crime. I mean, the most crime NWA was involved with was Eazy being like a weed dealer before he started being with the group. Ice Cube was not involved with crime. He just lived in a bad neighborhood. Dr. Dre was considered like a nerdy DJ. Tupac was a theater student who then got involved with a record label, Death Row Records, shout out Snoop, which was involved with crime, and he purposely kept himself in it. You know, that sort of thing. But I don't think if you're not an impressionable kid actually wanting to do these things, that it's that big of a deal. You know, it's when girls are way more impressionable, and I'd hate to siphon it this way or to cut it down the middle this way. But when girls want to dance like the musicians that they see and want to dress like the musicians that they see, I think that's a bit different than guys wanting to wear baggy jeans or wanting to be a little bit emo as long as it's not taken to like the obvious extremes. Or wearing a red hat backwards like Fred Durst. I think that there's a significant difference. Now, if some kids are saying, hey, these rappers are cool, I want to be drug dealers, and I want to carry unregistered firearms and commit carjackings and stuff, then yes, I would say that is bad. And I would say, where are your parents? But, it's hard for me to give a man an excuse, or even a late age teen boy an excuse, when it didn't cause me to do anything. Like, I was listening to the most messed up Eminem lyrics at 13 years old. I was listening to G-Unit in high school. I was listening to Limp Bizkit. I was listening to all these different artists. And I never said I want to commit a crime. So it's hard for me to sympathize with people who do that. But I will say that generic rap culture is generally bad. I remember, and last thing here, I remember talking to Bryson Gray on my show a couple of years ago, and he told me about this thing called drill rap, which I hadn't heard of at the time. And he cited a music video where a guy was literally shooting a music video, laying on the graves of two dead guys, as making fun of them. And that was like, this is wild. You shot a music video making fun of dead guys. And it's like, I didn't realize that existed. That is bad culture. That is bad stuff. And there is a former football player, Michael Irvin, from the Dallas Cowboys. His son is a rapper who raps about drugs and guns, and his father makes fun of him for that, for being a rich kid who lives in a gated community doing that.
Wait, who's his son?
I don't remember the name of it.
Dude, I wonder, I popping or something. I think I'd largely agree. Like, that's against rap still listens to rap, to some extent at least. And I think it's wrong or not. I do think that like rap has a lot of degenerate tones, but again, like I wasn't allowed to grow up listening to like explicit rap until I just kind of started listening to it on my own. And what I started listening to at the beginning was popular stuff, like the Kanye Wests, the Eminems, the Lil Waynes, that kind of stuff. And then I kind of got into SoundCloud rap era, which I think is probably is probably arguably the most degenerate when it comes to your Ski Mask, the Slump Gods, your XXXs, your Lil Peeps, your Lil Pill, before Lil Wi-Fi's funeral, all these guys. You get to those. And that's who I listened to for a long time, which is like the super heavy bass, like really distorted 808s kind of stuff. And they talk about some really like explicit stuff. But I think that for the kid, and I think you were right, influenced, right? If you have a guy, a boy, like a son of yours that's grown up, he can probably listen to Eminem and Kanye West and those kind of rappers totally fine, like knowing that it's just a song and not wanting to go out and kill someone or like, that kind of stuff won't happen. But when you see people like your Megan Thee Stallions and your Cardi B's, going out there and being half naked women, shaking what their mama gave them and, committing like sodomy on screen, like for YouTube videos. That's like the terrible part, is that every will be some young girl doing exactly what that female rapper did in the music video, which is like the detrimental part. I don't watch an Eminem music video or like who's like a Jack Harlow music video, and I don't go out and start like shooting people, right? Like I'm not doing that. I don't have the desire to like even record a TikTok of me being like, oh yo, bang bang bang, I don't
you never put anyone in you never put a girlfriend in the trunk before? Nothing like that?
I have never put
drove off a bridge
girlfriend in my trunk. I've never. I'm gonna stop there. There's a lot of Eminem lyrics that we could add now.
Good segue to the Patreon page.
So true.
Patreon.com/UOPod is where you'll get the bonus podcast every single week. And Gabe himself has been on it. You can see that episode here if you sign up. And this is weak, pathetic Canadian dollars. They won't even come to $10 in your account if you sign up. It'll come to like between $6 and $7. You can also be a monthly super fan, or you can be an unauthorized person, so that's probably like $45 US. and we will take your suggestions for a segment, which we have done before. And it was actually a pretty good segment about our good clown friend Richie the Barber. So you will see recent podcasts. We've been doing bonus podcasts with Anomaly lately, so we have a couple for the last 2 weeks. And if you sign up, you'll see those. We've also got some bonus footage coming this week. Some unearthed interviews that I've had with some comedians. And, of course, the full John Doyle experience in Texas, which Gabe was a part of with the gun ranges, is down here. This one right here, Infiltrating Texas with John Doyle. You will see Gabe possibly at the end of that. Now, there is a part of that video I had to take out, Gabe, when we were in John's studio that got extra explicit. Things were pointed at that people.
Was it when some specific object was pointed at me?
Yeah.
I actually had that clip. I was thinking about putting it in my Instagram post for like the year, like 2023. One of those. I didn't, but I was going to make like a 2023 year recap, and I was going to put that clip that you sent me in there of that thing being pointed at me. But I was like, I don't know.
That could be used for the intro to a music video or something. And then it goes 3 weeks earlier.
You should make a music video.
That would be sweet. If you could get like, well, if I was down there, we could probably get one of these guys to come down and shoot a music video that they planned on shooting anyways.
Oh, dude. What's it called? You know Rap, right? You're friends with Rap.
Yeah.
Frequent guest on the show from what I see. He actually is a rapper, if you didn't know. I don't know if you've listened to his music before. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I don't know if you're trying to cut the stream right now, but I would recommend you turn it on, like, for the outro or something. Sure. I don't know. Or maybe
can you send a link in the chat we have here?
Yeah, here.
See the stream chat here. I also want you to listen to Limp Bizkit's album, Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water. I want you personally to listen to that so you can feel the angst.
I just learned what chocolate starfish meant. Like,
yeah.
I did not
listen to that album. You will feel what I felt in the year 2000 to 2002. Let's go ahead and talk about football briefly there. But Deion Sanders, amazing football player from the 90s. He's got 2 sons that he coaches in college. And, you know, they have huge publicity. Now that college athletes can make money from brand deals and their likeness and everything, they're making tons of money. They bought their father a house, I read. So his sons are now doing all sorts of stuff. And I noticed the other day, Gabe, that they're actually doing or did a fashion show for Louis Vuitton, which is by Pharrell. He's like their director of, not marketing, but like one of their head style people now, or whatever that's called. And, you know, I'm chalking it up to pretty cringe. Let's see what it looked like. I don't know if we'll get copyright claimed for that song, so I'm going to go ahead and mute it. That was his son at the beginning, right here, with the bag and the digital camo. I mean, his clothes that he's wearing were pretty nice. I'm not going to lie there. The clothes that he was wearing were pretty decent. I don't know who this guy is. He seems to be dressed as a wicker basket and or tree. That's what the look they're going for there. This is the other Sanders son. The vest and the gay satchel, I would say, and the communist hat. See, I kind of like that. I kind of like that look. I kind of like the jacket. I like this is, you know, Ja Rule's assistant or something walking up.
That right there looks fire until you look at his feet, bro.
This is the Lil Nas X line.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Wait, hold up. Right after this guy, the sweater. Hold up. Yeah, the Lil Nas X.
Gonna take my horse to the Old Town Road.
Yeah, the Old Town Road. Oh my goodness. Oh, dude.
I want to see this other guy that was walking behind. That guy who walked by in the background, the long hair. This is just got out of prison look, that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that coat. I'd wear that digital camo coat. That's like a German urban digital camo, I want to say. But the point of this was... Pardon?
What brand is that? What clothes brand?
Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton. That bag's probably $8,000. But my question is,
the jacket.
yeah, right. Go ahead. I mean, sure. Thank you. It's probably cheap. I expect it. What I'm thinking though is these are your football playing sons. I don't know if I would. This tells me that they're not going to be the best players moving forward. That's what I'm saying. And on the other hand, if I was a football player, would I be champing at the bit to walk the runway? I mean, if you're sponsored by Louis Vuitton or something like that, or in a commercial, that's fair, I think. But I can't support this game, is what all I'm saying. I can't support my football playing sons wanting to be runway models. I don't know if you see it as cut and dry as I do. I'm pretty judgmental.
Here's the thing is like, I'm not necessarily opposed to modeling. Right, but no, like not me modeling, but just like people modeling, because obviously companies, clothes brands, like they clothes, right? And to wear your clothes. I don't know any of those football players. Just being honest, like you're probably not good enough. If I don't know much about football, and I still know like who famous football players are. Therefore, you're not famous enough to be venturing outside of your sport yet. Therefore, you should not be on that runway. But, with that being said, I don't know. I guess we're gonna start seeing gay football players now. Like it's gonna happen. Like it just has to. Like there's no way it's not gonna happen. So.
Well, they are very famous, much to your dismay. They're in college, though. It's because their father was a very famous player, and he's coaching their team. So
college football is very obscure.
I don't watch it.
And it's exactly only the really like obscure people that are like viscerally addicted to watching football, like watch college football. I know
viscerally addicted.
That's so many of my friends. So I have dissed all of them, but.
Shiloh hit the runway in an orange and brown camouflage puffer jacket adorned with Louis Vuitton's. Like, this is somebody's Super Bowl. Kyra Alessandrini is I get to describe what people wore on fashion for one of my articles. It's basically how I feel when I get to write about sports or video games. But, yeah, I don't think it's a good sign for football players. This guy in the background looks like a walking mannequin. But I don't think it's a good sign for a football player in terms of how good they're going to be if they want to walk on a runway. And I don't think I don't know. You're not manly if you're a runway model. I'm sorry. It's just like, you can't put those things together. Shiloh and Shooter both play for the Colorado Buffaloes as safety and quarterback. They're known as for their high performance in their sports, their high NIL valuations, and for being the son of team coach Deion Sanders. I don't know. Maybe that's maybe being a little bit we want to be multidimensional. We don't want to be just football. Shiloh told Pharrell in a YouTube video. You already are, Louis Vuitton's creative director replied. So that's Pharrell's title now. It's just that society makes you think that you are not, and you aspire to be other things, but you guys do so many things already. If I were you, I would change that language. I am multidimensional, Pharrell added. They're holding you down. You're famous college athletes making millions of dollars. Society's holding you down. I'm Pharrell with my giant stupid hats.
I was gonna say, are we like anti-Pharrell? Because I'm not opposed to being anti-Pharrell Williams, but
I'm not opposed to being. I'm not anti-Pharrell, but Pharrell is very of the system. There's Pharrell's been part of. Just go ahead and look up what Pharrell has been a part of in terms of political activism, and then you shall see. He has come up. He's gone to things where he's saying like the musicians aren't being paid too much, and it's brought to you by like the Clinton Global Initiative and stuff like that. And obviously Oprah loves him, and he comes from humble beginnings. I think he's from Virginia, and they were doing songs, NERD and stuff were producing for a lot of people back then.
It's like he looks kind of gay.
I don't know. We're not making such judgments until we get him kissing a guy. And even then, the South African middleweight champion of the UFC, Dricus du Plessis, kisses his coach and his father and his grandfather on the lips and claims it's just cultural. So can we even be sure anymore?
I don't know unless we see the Andrew says make out with Pharrell. No, was gay or not.
We got more time here. Let's talk
You have to tell me if he like kisses gay or if he kisses. Like,
kisses like a man.
Yeah,
he took me his sweet alien gangly like embrace. All 130 pounds of him. So this is something I wrote about, but this is from New Jersey. Now they had a plastic bag ban. If you're unaware, we have a plastic bag ban across all of Canada. We also have a plastic utensil ban and a plastic straw ban. It really sucks. Eating with a piece of wood, drinking with a piece of paper, and you can't even get a McFlurry anymore, Gabe. I don't know if you saw me post about this, but McFlurries now come with a wooden spoon inside of a cardboard container. So obviously that melts immediately because it's just in like a food container. It makes no sense. They've ruined McFlurries, and I'll have my revenge one day. Non-violently, of course, just through song. New Jersey's plastic bag ban actually increased pollution. And, it comes down to the fact that these replacement bags take up more plastic and create more pollution in their creation. So after New Jersey banned single plastic bags, their number of bags fell down by more than 60%. This pushed their numbers under 1 billion, which they actually had like 1.5 billion. While the reduction in single-use bags was evident, it generated different problems. What are you doing over there? Writing on a piece of cardboard?
Oh no, I'm following the mouse along with the words that you're reading. Not bad.
Your reading comprehension is like grade 6.
That's actually really true. You have like a 9th grade reading level, so yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
Follow along. While the reduction in single-use bags was evident, it generated different problems, including the very same environmental issues it tried to mitigate. And let's scroll down to the numbers here. The emissions increased by 500%. So they measured it just by greenhouse gas emissions, which is very generic. You have to imagine it's carbon dioxide. But the problem was they went from these single-use plastic bags, which are very thin, and they've produced them probably trillions of times, judging by the fact that New Jersey produced 1 billion a year. So they're very used to producing them, and they're very used to recycling them, and they're now made with a lot of recyclable materials. But these new ones that are non-woven polypropylene plastic, not many people recycle them at all. They're thrown out after just a couple of uses. It said 2 to 3 uses. And when they're made, they have five times the amount of emissions than the regular plastic bag. So the only person, and it also consumes 15 times more plastic in the production and generates 5 times more emissions per bag. There it is. So the only person who's actually benefiting from these is the plastic bag retailers, so the grocery stores. So the study that I'm citing here went on to state that when COVID and lockdowns hit and everybody was either picking up their grocery bags full of groceries, obviously, or getting them delivered, that means they aren't using their own reusable bags. That means they aren't showing up with the big honking bags and filling 2 to 3 bags. No, they're getting all these plastic bags delivered, the new ones, the new crappy Walmart ones, if you're familiar at all, which you probably aren't, luckily. And those get thrown out after a couple days into a landfill. They can't be recycled. They cause way more emissions. And because all these deliveries and pickups were increased, all the grocery stores are selling all these bags because they sell them for like 10 cents or whatever. So they actually made up to $200,000 of profit in just bags per location in New Jersey. That was totaled $42 million across the state. So forget, saving the environment. Forget getting rid of landfills. Knowing this now, I can only say, and this is my opinion, and I'll ask you yours, that the reason they wanted these bans is because they knew that they would sell a lot more bags. Now, the other bags are cheaper. They recycle them. All these other people are getting paid. And just like all the other green energy initiatives, which I call the my trillionaires, not your trillionaires way of thinking, all they've done is change production from these other plastic bags to these unrecyclable plastic bags. So somebody else is getting rich, and they probably said, hey, grocery stores, you're going to make a lot more money by charging people for these bags, and we're going to say it's good for the environment. Just like the other things, just like greenhouse gas emissions, electric cars manufacturers are going to make the money. We want them to be the billionaires. The gas people, we don't like them. They're more conservative, so we don't want them to make as much money. I can't help but think that this was known all along, that if all of a sudden we change to a plastic type that creates more emissions and isn't recycled as often, that there's got to be some reason behind that, and that's making more money for these grocery stores. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I think the biggest example that I see of grocery stores like this, at least in America, is Aldi's. Aldi's doesn't give a plastic bag option. You either get no bag and you have to carry all your groceries by hand, or you have to buy like a $3 reusable bag by them every single time you go. And you're not going to remember to bring your reusable bag. Nobody's remembers. Like who's going to remember to bring their reusable bag?
I remember to bring my reusable bags. I keep them in the trunk of my car.
All right, maybe I'm coping.
Continue.
But when I bring my groceries into my apartment, I don't want to walk back out to my car, so they stay in my house, right? And I only go to all these like every once in a while, but still, I'm assuming like if you're going every single week, right, you're gonna forget at some point. You're gonna have to rebuy these bags. Are stupid, right? Not everyone can be Andrew says. Not everyone can be as smart as Andrew, but most people are stupid, so they're going to be using that money. And I'm sure that they saw this as a form of profit. For the most part, they probably saw it as like a, hey, losing money with this. We're going to start losing money on people buying groceries because the economy is terrible right now. People are going to be spending less money at the grocery store. They're going to probably be purposely starving themselves to some extent, like, oh, we can't afford this anymore. So we have to figure out a way making that money to have it. Because I know it's a 200,000 profit, and maybe there was like a significant profit per store. But I'm sure that a lot of grocery stores are also getting hit right now because of the economy. So I see this as probably a way that they thought was like hyper genius to, get out of that jam that economy has put them in. Even though you said this started like at the end of COVID, I'd assume that they probably knew, that the economy was going to be bad after COVID. So yeah, I guess those are my thoughts on that. I'm pro regular, just plastic bag, make them free. All right. I don't recycle mine. I just use mine as little trash bags for, my basket in my bathroom,
my trip to Texas was truly a trip about freedom. Getting plastic bags. We're getting plastic straws. We're getting oversized drinks when we order a small. Your small is our large. And then there's 17 other sizes above that. I'd say the small is a little bit bigger than our medium. But once you get to an American medium, that's significantly bigger than our large, I would say.
Okay. Well, whenever you come back down or food places, I know that like we're not pro fast food, but fast food is good sometimes. It's probably one of the most American things you can do is eat a McDonald's cheeseburger.
That's right.
So
the last thing I wanted to talk about, because, it's a controversial issue. It's not that controversial, but Kentucky is looking to ban cell phones in class. Now, I thought this was assumed to already be a thing, and I can't imagine a classroom where the teacher's just like, all right, you can use your phones during class. Now, we had cell phones when I was in high school. I won't date myself, but we weren't using them in class. And that was because you could barely do anything on them other than text at that time, which of course was 2019. No, so I don't know. When you were in class, I can only imagine how easy it would be to cheat on tests, to just be sending messages when the teacher's not looking, to be doing whatever you want. I mean, it would be sweet, obviously, but I assumed there was some sort of established thing here where you walk into the classroom and they go into a bin, or you got to leave them in your locker during class. You can check them between classes. What was it like for you in high school?
So I graduated in 2021. God. That dates me. I'm only graduated about 4 or 5 years ago, almost, right? 4 years ago. Roughly. And I used to use my phone all the time in class. all the time in class. Now, I will say I'm a type 1 diabetic, so I was allowed to, right, by the school, because my blood sugar meter phone, and I would just do other stuff on my phone. But also before I had diabetes, because I got diagnosed like midway through high school, I had an Apple Watch that I used to allegedly cheat on tests all the time with. So like it is a big thing, right? And my sister, she's in the high school right now. She uses her phone all the time. Every child has basically bullied school districts into allowing phones to being like essential. They've convinced them that having phones is essential for learning, which is not. People used to learn way more before phones existed. All right. Phones are quite literally just use my phone to play Clash Royale all the time. All right. It's not like a helpful aid, right? For me specifically, it was helpful because of like my medical stuff. But for other students, nobody else used to use their phones during class like for useful things, right? There's computers in almost every classroom. There's computers, there's desktops. The teachers could just be like, no phones, go use desktop. If you need to look something up, go use a desktop, because then the teacher can see like if you're playing games on the desktop too. There's no need for phones, but phones have like taken over basically everything. So someone said pitiful clickbait. By the way, we did cover the Snoop Dogg thing already. You're just late to the stream.
Yeah, I don't know what that could be referencing. Maybe they're saying Fox is putting clickbait. Who knows? But
maybe.
We had, obviously, I would assume there's laptops involved in high school now too, but I'm not sure. But laptops we had in college was like, obviously you can do whatever you want. Some teachers say close them all the time. Yes, of course, it's the right thing to do. I remember when I was in radio school and we had a news class which had computers in it. That was the first time I ever beat Tetris. I beat 99 levels of Tetris in a class. So you give a person a computer or a phone, they're going to find ways to distract themselves and not pay attention in class. Yeah, that's just the way it is. So I don't think it should be allowed. You know, I've written and read about school districts that are using these things called Yonder bags, which is a bag that locks that fits your cell phone in it. They use them a lot at comedy clubs now. Joe Rogan sort of popularized it. Tony Hinchcliffe uses it. There's some Texas references for you, because I've been to Tony Hinchcliffe shows where you come up, they put your thing in a bag, and it's not like you have to leave your bag or your phone with a person. It's in this big bag like this. It still kind of fits in a pocket. It's kind of bulky, but it's not like you have to leave it somewhere. They probably knew people would freak out. So it just makes it so you can't use your phone. And then right after, there's 5, 6, 7, 8 people standing outside the doors hustling to unlock your bags. But it's never been a problem. I've been to like 3 shows where they've used it, and they come and unlock your bag for you so you get your phone out. They've used that at schools, and I think that's pretty good. I think just saying, hey, put it in your locker, nobody's going to come steal it from your locker during school unless you live in an extremely high crime area, I guess. Yeah. But you have like 10 minutes between classes. You have to go change your books most of the time. You can go check your phone, send a couple of messages. Like, it's not the end of the world. And the fact that you say they've been convinced that the kids need them is insane. I think a lot of the teachers are weak these days. A lot of them weren't as weak back in the day, I feel like. And I think a lot of it has to do with politics. I think a lot of it has to do with these teachers who are very like, you have to listen to the kids. If they're trans, they're trans. Like, if you're saying a kid knows what gender it is and knows like about like racial structure and class struggle and all these things that they grant teenagers to having advanced knowledge for, then maybe you have to admit that they know that they need the cell phones, even though they obviously don't. Maybe that's the line of thinking. A lot of teachers are bad. You know, people complain about teacher pay in the United States, and it's because there's so many people who try to be teachers. Now, I've been around the block long enough to see different ebbs and flows of what, you know, jobs are very popular, usually among women. So when I went to college the first time, you know, being a nurse was really popular, right? So all of a sudden there was tons of nurses and they didn't get paid much. And then the second time I went to college, between the 3 years I was in it, at first it was personal support workers. Tons of girls were taking that. So all of a sudden that was a shitty paying job. And then the next thing was like dental assistant. So when there's these huge influxes of people trying to take jobs that are popular of the day, there's not going to be enough income to go around. And so for people to say that teachers need to just generally be paid more. Well, they've gone into a field that's extremely competitive, and if I'm going into, like, I don't know, shoe salesman, and there's 55 shoe stores down the street, I'm probably not going to make as much money.
Yeah, no, I mean it's just the market. You oversaturate it with people, then you're gonna get paid less if everyone wants a job. That's just how it is. But teachers, just in general, they have public schools. Most private school teachers, the benefit of getting paid, actually caring about their job, and most of the time having a religious background. But public school teachers, they just get anyone. They literally just get anyone that looks young, that looks like they can appeal to kids or whatever. Most of the time, they're they're liberal and stupid and don't know how to appeal to children. Really, just get bullied by the kids because it's very easy to bully teachers. Like, it's so easy. And if me and my friends really I'm being so dead ass. Like, it's crazy. If me and my friends in high school really wanted to give a teacher a hard right, because there were kids that were disrespectful and they would like semi-bully teachers around. If me and my competent friends actually wanted to bully a teacher, we totally could have. And if I had like never expressed conservative beliefs, oh my goodness, I could have made everything about race, and it would have been so.
I had good teachers. Yeah.
No, continue. I was just gonna say they're pushovers.
I had good teachers in elementary school, especially. I was friends with a lot of the teachers' sons. They were my age, and I could think of 2 or 3 specific teachers that I really loved, and they never put. It was a different time though. There was no politics involved in it. Like, we didn't have to worry about or care about or learn about queer rainbows and flags and everything. So it was a different time.
Queer
so
black women.
Yeah. So now it's just like. I mean, and they always voted left wing as a voting bloc too. It was all about their union pay and everything. So maybe that's why it was so much better up here. But I can definitely see where you're coming from. I remember in gym class it was a lot easier once it wasn't mandatory after 10th grade, so 11th and 12th. You have the people who want to play sports in those classes. So we would basically just demand to play. It's very Canadian. We demanded to play floor hockey. It either had to be hockey or football pretty much every single day, or else we would cause a riot. And Black Lives Matter.
Oh man, you killed me.
So what's,
what were you gonna say?
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna add. I remember having a substitute teacher once, actually. Based old rich lady with tattoos from head to toe named Mrs. Count. All right, and she was everyone's favorite substitute because she was like based, right? And I only know this now because I think back to stuff that she said. But basically, our English teacher had lied to us and told us that she had a doctor's appointment, so that she was calling out. And I'm sure that's what she told the school. Then we get to class and we're like, oh, where's I forget my actual teacher's name. That's like the craziest part. I think it was
You don't need to say the actual teacher's name.
Oh, I don't care. I'll just say Mrs. G. Oh, where's Mrs. G today? And she's like, oh, she didn't tell you guys. And then one student was like, oh yeah, she said like she went to the doctor's appointment. She said, no, that's not it at all. He goes, oh, is that what she told you? No, she went to go to an anti-Trump rally.
Nice.
And then she just turned around and started writing on the board. And like, I knew, like, there was other stuff that she told me where she was like, oh, this generation is lost, like pretty base stuff. But that was one thing where I was like, dude, she just called out for, skipping school, skipping her like duty as a teacher to like be there when she's well to go to like some anti-Trump rally. So yeah, that was, yeah.
Reminds me of the song "My Generation" by Limp Bizkit. You're gonna have to listen to the album. I want your full review. I'll send you the. Do you have Spotify?
Set.
Okay.
Well, I'm pro. I'm an
Bizkit.
Apple Music. I'm an Apple product supremacist, but I do like Spotify. I'm not anti-Spotify. I think Spotify is epic. Has a lot of unreleased music on there that I can listen to.
Wow, outing them. Every time somebody's good to you, you just out them. What was
I just out them.
What was Rep's rap? What am I going to find that under?
Dude, I haven't. I tried to look it up on Spotify, but I can't find, or not on Spotify, on SoundCloud, but I can't find it.
Oh, it's not on
it used to be
YouTube?
called- I'm sure if you look up on YouTube, someone's reacted to it, but release. Put it on YouTube. Press release, Red Eagle, Patriot. Because that's
I don't see it.
Yeah,
Unless it's
I
from
don't see
somebody
it
called
either.
Lyrical Commission. We're going to play this song anyways on the outro. It's called Lyrical Commission Press Release. Never heard of it. The username is Ghostface411. So I don't know if this is Ghostface Killer, but we're going to play it at the end. If it gets copyright claimed, we'll just erase it. But of course, nothing gets erased on Rumble. Nothing gets erased on Spotify because they know, every single week almost we get demonetized. I think there's 1 or 2 weeks where we weren't demonetized on YouTube. And every single week but 2 now, we have not won the appeal because we're following the rules. And even though YouTube knows we're following the rules, they're still going to demonetize us anyways. Gabe Victal from the KGB show. He's a Brazilian soccer player who had to retire due to an Achilles blowout. So he's doing podcasts now. Find him on Instagram. Find him on YouTube at the KGB show.
Dude,
we will see you next time. Patreon.com.
Quick
What?
correction. You guys will no longer be able to find me at the. I've not technically officially made the last episode. You show is closing the book on its chapter. If you find me anywhere in the future, it will be on my Instagram. And there's no bad blood anyways. Blake's actually just taking over the channel because I'm moving and Kate is also moving. So be over the channel, but you guys can find me at the Trenches YouTube channel, Bo Diddle, Lily Kate, and I am editor and cameraman Gabe, and I will be appearing in some of the videos in the future. But yeah. See me there.
He will send nude if you asked him.
Whoa, no.
Patreon.com/UOPod. Shout outs in the chat, JB Majewski. That's a good Polish name. Mr. Krakowian. That's probably the same guy because that's also a Polish name. He wants to see my feet. You're going to have to sign up for Patreon, and then who knows what will happen. I'll do a 5-minute segment on foot photos if you sign up for Patreon and request that. Some other person says, hello, sorry for bothering you. I want to offer a promotion to your channel. Sorry, not going to read that. And then Naya said pitiful clickbait. Obviously, Naya was talking about Fox News. We would never have pitiful clickbait here. Only the best clickbait, the best of all time. It was good clickbait. She said, where is the clickbait? I said, come get the clickbait here. It's a work in progress. Alive. What'd you say?
Quite honestly, the clickbait was it was quite the best. It was, it was the best,
They wanted clickbait. They couldn't get it. I said, screw yourselves. No clickbait here. I walked in. No.
I said, they're gay. They said I had clickbait. I said, they're gay. I walked in there. I said, wow, all these people are gay.
All right.
We love them.
We're going to close on this random song. We'll see you guys next week. And then, sign up for the Patreon. Patreon.com/UOPod. Audio listeners, we also love you.
Scenes of many horrors I've lived through. A scholar of kicks, loops and bottles of Vicks brewed. I follow the southern squalls and scribble on others' walls. You're too fickle to fucking brawl. I mingle with troubled swords and double thoughts in my bank account. So check the statement, I can break it down. LC's taking the crown, making it healthy, never complacent. Pushing it to the limit.
Turn it up, Jordan.